This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Pyroclasm for a 3-player FFA in the north as our Cyan allies. This is SamBack. In the south to the left as our Blue Empire, it's GoDoFWaR. And on the right as our green allies, this is Fury. Now we have 2 allies and an Empire player, but curiously, GoDoFWaR, the actual allied player, is playing Empire because all 3 players chose random before the game began. So we have a random distribution of these races. Of course, not a statistically perfect distribution, but at any rate, SamBack, I don't know what he normally plays. I've only seen one replay of him as far as I know, unless, of course, he's smurfing and playing under a different name some other times. But he has played Soviets in the only other game that I saw of him. So we have GoDoFWaR, who normally plays allies. We have a player who I've only seen play as Soviets, and I know I've casted Fury before, although I don't know that I actually uploaded any of those replays. I'm pretty sure it was in like a team game, maybe a 2v2v2 or something. At any rate, I have no idea what Fury normally plays. So this could be a bit of a mismatch in terms of everyone is playing a faction that they are not super comfortable with. As you can see, a little bit of early game action. We do have 3 oil derricks on this map, as is per usual, and each player has secured one, although Fury being the latest to do that. 2 refineries and then an airfield for SamBack in the north. Relatively quick 3rd refinery coming out from GoDoFWaR. He did go for a number of dojos in that opening. It looks like at least 4 of them relatively early on. And 3 refineries before the Mecha Bay. So all of these players opening up relatively delayed aggression. No one's going super crazy aggressive rushes. They're all looking to go somewhat slower and somewhat more economy-focused. We're not seeing cryo rushes come out of here. We're not seeing like super fast airfields or Mechatengu spam right out of the gate. Everyone is playing fairly standard, but a little bit safe and a little bit economy-focused. 3rd refinery is coming up for both of our allied players, it looks like, as they unpack their MCVs in new locations. Vindicator's making some bombing runs to try and hurt. Ooh, actually, he snipes a Vindicator, so an early Vindicator kill like that is great for GoDoFWaR. I cannot believe that he was allowed to get that kill that easily. That is going to be fantastic for him. Of course, it does not stop SamBack, but it does give him a bit of advantage. Where's the transform? No transform necessary. The Apollo gets shooed away, and GoDoFWaR has a fantastic opening thus far. Can he save the oil derrick? No, the answer is, of course, no. He will be able to clean up a number of these Peacekeepers, and guess what? If he loses all of these Peacekeepers, then SamBack has actually lost significantly more in terms of income than GoDoFWaR will for quite a while, because Peacekeepers, this many of them, does indeed add up to a healthy number of losses and a healthy amount of cash down the drain. As we saw earlier, Riptide's coming out from Fury. He does keep the Naval Yard around, at least for a little while. Could, of course, tech up to Tier 2 and move his MCV back in range so that he could get some Assault Destroyers out. Now, FFAs are always funky, but a strong opening from GoDoFWaR. That doesn't mean anything as far as the game continues on. He could be beaten back by a bit of double trouble action, but for now, he's in a pretty solid position. 3 refineries finally up for pretty much everyone, and 4th refineries going to be in short order, at least for SamBack up in the north. And this will, it looks like, be spotted by Fury once that refinery goes down. 4th refinery into the middle of the map for GoDoFWaR, and a little bit of an expansion point over here on the right side for Fury. Javelin Troopers pop on out, but it looks like for now, well, something crashed into the water, maybe an Apollo. For now, SamBack is being pushed back by Fury. Our 2 allied players do look similar in the aircraft department, but of course the Naval Yard, the Riptides, and the Javelin Troopers being the differentiation for Fury. We're not into Tier 2 just yet, it looks like, or at least there's no Tier 2 production coming out from GoDoFWaR. Again, focusing on getting his 3rd and 4th refineries up relatively quickly. A little bit of a skirmish here with the Apollos. Nothing really to report or to write back home about. I'm digging this from Fury. You can see throughout the map, he's got these scouts, dogs hanging out in the water. Maybe he can pick off this naval yard. It looks like it just just finished constructing. Doesn't have tier 2 or anything like that, but a couple of dolphins could head over there to start harassing it and poking away at it. Naval yard now going to be up, just a little bit of extra protection for this refinery. And of course, our 4th refinery is now up and running for Fury. So all 3 of these players, relatively even footing and relatively safe so far. Dolphins are going to get cleaned up, but this is a lot of damage on that refinery. He chooses to go for 2 Tangoos. It may have actually been better to bomb that refinery. It still would have survived, but it would have put that refinery even closer to death. Javelin Troopers getting cleaned up. GoDoFWaR doing a great job of protecting his harvesters and refineries, at least for now. Don't use these Javelin Troopers. They're just going to get slaughtered by the sheer number of Tangoos. There's actually going to be a transform. The kill on 2 of these Vindicators, but he's going to trade out at least 1 Tango. The second Tango narrowly escaping there, and his harvester has already been rebuilt, but it won't be able to contend with this much firepower from the Javelin Troopers, at least not just yet. Nice kill of that wall. These laser locks will be able to clean up this refinery if they get the chance. 2 more Javelin Troopers do go down. 3 Javelin Troopers eliminated. This is a lot of cash to expend for Fury to just get 1, not even 2 harvesters. I'm pretty sure he got that first harvester right. At any rate, that's a lot of cash for Fury to expend. SamBack now going to be putting a little bit of pressure on Fury's expansion. SamBack still has not taken expansion in the middle of the map, so he's not quite got the same foothold here that the other players do, although he has moved his MCV close enough. There's going to be a multi-gunner turret going down, and a Riptide gets eaten up for free there by GoDoFWaR. SamBack unable to keep that Riptide alive, and the refinery actually completely goes down. So Fury losing that expansion. A couple of Yari mini-subs. Of course, we saw the Dolphins get cleaned up earlier, and these Yari mini-subs are going to be out hunting for anything that they can get. There isn't a whole lot out for them to kill, but they might be able to clean up that naval yard, which would be annoying. Refinery is going to be under threat, or actually just the harvester here. As, is this Peacekeeper really the only thing to kill? Okay, well, that harvester is going to get away scot-free. It got frozen down, but it will eventually unfreeze and get back to work. Yari Minisub's going to be skirting around the edge of the map. The 4 of them going to be coming over here to kill this refinery, and very unfortunately here for Fury, he has been struck by the harvester bug, so that harvester is not actually going to be getting to work, and it will most likely end up being eliminated before it can ever really do anything production-wise. Although a second multi-gunner turret means that this attack may actually be stopped. This now means that it was a mistake for GoDoFWaR. Actually, no, he gets both multi-gunner turrets. He could have gotten a secured kill on that harvester if he would have attacked from the other side. But Fury striking back. He won't be able to get the kill on the harvester. Even hands away heroic veterancy to that Tango. And if these Tangoos... well, I guess the harvester ends up going down to the Vindicators anyways. But if the Tangoos could transform, they can kill that Apollo pretty darn quickly. They've got a lot of combined firepower. Looks like a... no, I don't think it was an airfield. Something getting frozen and knocked down there by SamBack, who is going to pay for it dearly with the lives of a number of Javelin Troopers and also that Riptide as well. So again, these players generally expending a good amount of cash, but not getting away cleanly. All of these harvester harassments, all of these attacks are costs and are trades. No one is getting really easy wins here for these engagements. SamBack, trying to hold this position here in the middle of the map, has been able to secure a pretty strong foothold, multiple multi-gunner turrets, lots of infantry all hanging out, all trying to find opportunities to defend and to strike back against GoDoFWaR and Fury. Once again, Fury going for the harassment. He does secure another harvester kill. The Vindicators did not need to be the ones to get the kills there. Nice splitting of the bombs, deliberately targeting the Tangoos with no point defense drones so he can get the guaranteed kill with the Vindicator bombs. That was good decision-making there by Fury. Now, we do have the artillery advantage is going to be going to GoDoFWaR, and when you've got Tier 3 mixed in with this Tier 2 army, and a measly cryo shot is the only thing that fires off, that looks a little bit silly. It's a little bit outclassed here by the strength of GoDoFWaR's army. This refinery taking a lot of damage. It's going to be a multi-gunner turret to potentially finish it off. No, it gets almost insta-sniped there by the Wave Force artillery, but Wave Force are going to be getting targeted down. One of them does get eliminated by those Vindicators, and now it's going to be a bit of a mess of an attack here. This is not a well-coordinated assault from SamBack. As you can see, a lot of his units getting caught up on the terrain there. I'm not sure what ended up going down there. I think it was another Riptide, but now Shogun battleships out on the water, and this is going to be a tough fight for GoDoFWaR. He's kind of picking a fight with 2 players at once, and this is a better Cryoblast going to be firing off there, and the Tengu and the 2 Wave Force will almost certainly get eliminated there as the Riptides push on forward, and the IFVs as well trying to get in on the action. The attack has been pushed back. The Wave Force did get eliminated, but at a slight cost to our allied player. He mostly got away scot-free, and his MCV has taken a serious amount of damage, but again, it has managed to escape, so he can indeed get an engineer inside of it. Here's the engineer there. The barracks in the north from much earlier in the game has been kept around. He, of course, is up to tier 3 as well, and now he can produce Athena cannons out of that war factory. Unfortunately for GoDoFWaR, he was not able to strike down that MCV that almost would have killed SamBack if he had been able to strike down that MCV, but he was not able to. It would have completely reset the tech of our allied player in the north and would have either forced him to rebuild an MCV at a costly expense, or, you know, produce the command hub and then have a little bit of a weaker technology point for that war factory. Athena cannon, I think, is about to get sniped by this Wave Force artillery. Yeah, it gets eliminated. It does manage to grab the harvester as the laser had already fired away. Wave Force artillery takes a bit of damage there. The refinery is now gone. And once again, this harvester can be rebuilt for GoDoFWaR. He's had to rebuild that several times throughout the course of this game. SamBack slowly but surely being pushed back, and 2 Shogun battleships now out on the field. These allied players are choosing to not go into cryocopters, which I think is a bit of a mistake. Cryocopters are an essential tool for the allied player to take efficient engagements and to be able to shut down the Empire player. And in this case, neither one of them is really doing it. Although a Cryoblast fires off, he doesn't really catch anything. He gets the Harvester, so that's 1 guaranteed kill. He is going to potentially trade out the Vindicators. No, it's actually going to be Vindicators from 2 sides, and the Vindicator steals the heroic veterancy off of that Wave Force artillery, so SamBack manages to get a fully heroic Vindicator in a relatively short amount of time, produces his own airfield, and actually a hydrofoil shows up. He's going to try and lock down the Shogun battleships. They're firing directly over this ridge, which looks kind of funny. An assault destroyer and an aircraft carrier. 2 assault destroyers actually now out for Fury. He's starting to put pressure on GoDoFWaR, and GoDoFWaR, like I said, fighting 2 battles at once. This is going to be a difficult thing to withstand. This is going to be a difficult thing to even survive for very long. He is essentially pissed off both players, and while he was able to push SamBack away, he now has to deal with Fury, who hasn't really been taking very much damage. Yeah, he lost this refinery here, he lost something over here, but he hasn't taken that much damage. Cryoshot now going to be firing off. Nice bomb splitting there for SamBack, and he gets extra value there. And this is going to be one of those stories where the one player who was in a better position earlier on ended up having to fight 2 battles at once and basically will end up losing them. Now, it is possible that GoDoFWaR will still come out ahead in this engagement, but he's going to have to fight tooth and nail to beat 2 players with just his single self. Good crushes by GoDoFWaR, making use of that tsunami tank, but he doesn't actually totally eliminate the infantry army, which means his army is now separated out, and it's going to get cut to pieces, as in the north and in the south, he is having to deal with 2 separate pieces of Fury's army. Fury at the same time taking damage over on his water expansion. GoDoFWaR has decided to pull back a little bit here. He's going to be kind of trading blows with artillery, but he's had to fall back. Cryocopters now out on the field for SamBack. He's harassing Fury a little bit here, but again, SamBack got pushed back away from the front lines. He was able to rebuild that airfield, as we saw here, and he, of course, had the Tier 3 because GoDoFWaR was unable to kill that MCV. But if GoDoFWaR had been able to eliminate that MCV, it's very possible that this game at this point would look fairly different. Fury starting to turn his attention back towards the north, but of course SamBack has had several minutes to just power up and get to where he wants to be, while God of War and Fury fight each other. Now we've got three cryocopters here. They are relatively low on health, but SamBack still manages to keep them alive. He does retreat away from the front line. God of War trying to reestablish this refinery, but this is going to become even more difficult to hold on to. There's still a lot of cash there. Fury is going to be losing this refinery, this expansion point. Once again, the refinery won't even be established there. And honestly, these Yari mini-subs should try and come around to the north side and attack this expansion. Fury is going to be okay with losing that expansion over there. Well, maybe not, since this is instantly being harassed by these Shogun battleships. He needs to do something about that. He's got an aircraft carrier. Where's the EMP? It hasn't fired off just yet, so the aircraft carrier could, in theory, escape. But at this point, the assault destroyers are already on top of it. And he does not manage to get this ore refinery, I don't think. Although, actually, oh, he would have been able to get it if he would have fired that last volley. And goodbye, Shogun battleship, as that assault destroyer goes on land. These Yari mini-subs need to attack from the south. This expansion in the north, they need to attack from the southern angle there, as this assault destroyer is going to be able to kill a couple of harvesters in God of War's base. I think the hydrofoil wasn't actually rebuilt by Fury. Goodbye, one assault destroyer. The other assault destroyer will go down here, and it will get a couple of shots off on these Sea Wings, but they won't actually get eliminated. And now this aircraft carrier needs to be cleaned up. The hydrofoil most likely being produced right now by Fury as a response to those chopper VXs. He has a definite weakness in his naval army. And this is exactly what God of War should have done. He's done it now. He's cleaned up the refinery and the power plant all from that southern angle so that the multi-gunner turret does not actually get any damage off onto him until the last possible second. There's the transform. The cryocopters escape. It's too late for God of War. He loses the refinery in both locations. He is, again, being beaten back on two fronts by these players. But Fury is not going aggressive. He himself, when he tries to take expansions, they get punished. These players just kind of playing almost like tit for tat with these expansions. No big army clashes for the last minute or so, but once again, this refinery forced to be sold off. These Athena cannons from the land are going to be able to clean it up. Nope, they can't quite reach those command hubs over on the right side there. And the multi-gunner turret is also going to be getting eliminated by SamBack. Fury getting kind of pushed back from the north. SamBack actually could swing down to the south and actually buy God of War some really needed time. God of War having to deal with the naval forces of Fury. He's finding it a bit difficult to contend with the superior armada that is Fury's naval forces. Oh, he did lose his naval yard. So he loses the tech up, he loses the naval yard. The Athena cannons push back the Mirage tanks of Sam. And Sam, unable to get any real headway in his ground assault of Fury. A little bit of a stalemate that we're forming here, as these three players, each one with some kind of strength. SamBack looking like the overwhelming strength. But of course, oh, this is an infinite EMP. So this is one of those things that you can't quite do in tournament games. But here, in a friendly kind of a match or just a three-player FFA, who cares? And you might as well exploit some bugs if you can. A couple of King Onis are out. A couple of Wave Force artillery as well. Ooh, this entire army is just going to get slaughtered by SamBack. You got a feel for God of War. Cryogeddon going to fire off directly on top of this army. There's the transform to save at least the strikers. But they're going to have to contend with so many ground forces, many of them infantry, which they will do very poorly against. And even an Apollo getting in on the action, as these strikers do huge amounts of damage before they get eliminated. Huge amounts of damage to the vehicles on the ground, but not huge amounts of damage to the ground army in general. Fury here in the middle of the map has an opportunity to strike north, does not take it. Both of these allied players taking swings at God of War, and God of War desperately trying to stand up to the abuse, but quite frankly, he doesn't have the income to support fighting a 2v1 in this case. I'm not sure what was taking damage over here. It looks like Fury doing a little bit of assaulting of SamBack. This is definitely one of those games where it is not a total one-sided slugfest where, you know, sometimes you'll see players gang up in a free-for-all. They'll gang up on one player either intentionally or accidentally. But this has definitely been a good round of people striking out against each other. Yahari Minisubs passing directly under this naval fleet. They're going to try and pass by and, I don't know, do what. They could actually strike down the naval yard once this army is kind of out of range. That would probably be a good move, is killing that naval yard, at least reset the naval forces a little bit here. SamBack and Fury finally striking against each other. SamBack losing pretty much everything in the air, but the Mirage tanks are going to be able to clean up some of the ground army, but not all of it. A lot of the infantry going to unfreeze here as SamBack gets his forces back in play. The Guardian tank doesn't manage to get the crushes, and actually that Cryogeddon almost wasted here by Fury as he was not actually able to capitalize on the frozen forces of Sam. And now Vindicator's going to be showing up too little too late. They are just gifts given away by our player in the south. A critical misstep there by Fury. He massively over-calculated how much damage he was going to be able to get done. SamBack now with 2 fresh Mirage tanks here on the front line. He's going to get a free Athena cannon. That Aegis shield is nice, but guess what? When you're inside of the range, the shield does virtually nothing, if not literally nothing. Everything from SamBack is pushing forward. A whiff of an EMP, too little, too late, and it looks like Fury may be completely knocked out of this game. He's going to try and run. He can get out onto the water, but he can't necessarily escape SamBack's forces forever. That shrink literally helped Fury escape, and now Fury is actually safely out on the water. His naval force is going to be doing something to try and contend with this ground army, but the ground army can kill all of the infrastructure that's here on land. Even the cryocopter is going to be going for... Wait, where are the hydrofoils? The hydrofoils late to respond. What were you doing over there? They are going to get the cryocopters, but not before the aircraft carrier goes down. And now suddenly there's nothing out here out on the water that really matters all that much. Well, the MCV is out there on the water. No, GoDoFWaR, don't do it! No, let the Allied players fight amongst themselves. Why? Why would you attack SamBack? Yes, you saw an opening, and yes, you would be wise to take it in a different instance. The King Oni gets an insta-kill on that Mirage tank, and actually the cryocopters also get cleaned up. The Cryogeddon not really doing a whole lot for SamBack, but Fury has actually been purchased. In terms of time, Fury has bought a couple of minutes of free time by GoDoFWaR. GoDoFWaR gifting that to Fury as he takes the heat of SamBack off of Fury. And Fury surviving with his Tier 3 MCV. Again, when these Allied players manage to escape with their Tier 3 MCV, these are both depleted, by the way. When they manage to escape with their Tier 3 MCV, you haven't actually cut out very much from them. Their production facilities are still alive. He's still got aircraft carriers. The naval yard didn't even have to be rebuilt. It's a reset, yes, but not a massive one. Look at this. The refinery is already back up. By the way, as we head past the 20-minute mark in this game, this oil derrick has been up for the majority of the game. The other two were eliminated fairly shortly into this match. So I don't know what the math works out on that, but this is a serious amount of income, thousands and thousands of credits that have gone to Fury over the course of this game. A little bit of Riptide Javelin Trooper action. They're going to be able to clean up one Harvester relatively easily there. For now, the Sea-Wing does manage to survive. The Harvester back online now for GoDoFWaR. Into the middle of the map go those Peacekeepers. In this game, as brutal of an attack as that would have been in most other games, this looks fairly normal for Fury. I mean, look at this. This is 3,500 credits worth of production facilities that are back online after SamBack came in and smashed almost everything. And Fury is like, he's back up to operating as normal. And I mean, you know, SamBack helping him out with the shrink down of the MCV so it could escape even more quickly. GoDoFWaR, he has tried so hard to get off just his 2 refineries for most of this game. He keeps taking 3 and 4 refineries. They keep getting beaten back. This aircraft carrier almost dead. Which, by the way, GoDoFWaR, I have not seen him call down balloon bombs or Final Squadron or... I mean, I saw him get naval upgrades earlier, and I assume he has advanced rocket pods, but most of the support powers he hasn't really been utilizing. A Javelin Trooper pops on out. He was hoping this guy could kind of get by without really being noticed, and he was hoping that that Javelin Trooper was going to be able to pop on out and probably laser lock something down and destroy it. But, oh, this is great from SamBack. He's turret pushing this water expansion, which, again, one of the most contended expansions on this map is this water expansion over here on the right side. This aircraft carrier so low on health, this one over here nearly being eliminated, and that's kind of the story for these allied players. They take so much damage, but they're allowed to escape. They're allowed to build back up. They're allowed to heal. And this is one of those things where it's like, if GoDoFWaR had not attacked SamBack when he was in the middle of attacking Fury, he probably would have pushed on, killed these other two refineries over here, the power plant, and would have made it that much more difficult for Fury to get back in this game. But GoDoFWaR had the misfortune of trying to attack at that moment, and don't be fooled by those rocks, by the way. But he had the misfortune of trying to attack at that moment, and accidentally saving Fury. So now Fury back in the game, and he is going to be attacking. He's going to be attacking GoDoFWaR and causing problems for GoDoFWaR, and GoDoFWaR is weaker because of it. Skywing flies on over the Naval Yard, has been rebuilt, but I don't think it's Tier 3. He's just relying on the Yari Mini-Sub suicide attack there to put out some damage on these naval forces. And I mean, hey, it's not the worst plan in the world. Where's the other... There's another aircraft carrier. Now I don't see it. It may have actually gotten finished off. I may have missed that. Cryogeddon fires off on top of the airfield. There's the sell-off. And is SamBack going to be able to do anything else about it? No, he was actually going to be using the precision bomber. And the Vindicator does actually crash into the wall there. Not too much of a loss unless that was the heroic Vindicator. But I don't think it was. I don't actually know where the airfield is for this guy. Yeah, it may have been the heroic Vindicator, or the heroic Vindicator went down at some point earlier on in this game. So once again, we're at this stalemate-y kind of a situation. All three players have strength left in their ground armies, left in their naval armies, but in their navies. In their sea armies? Anyways, they all have some amount of strength left. Again, SamBack looks impressive on the minimap, but infantry can be crushed relatively easily. This is a lot of infantry, so they will be able to put out a decent amount of damage. But King Onis can, of course, bull rush through them. Harvesters can potentially pick some of them off if the Harvesters don't get just, like, insta-killed. And SamBack has been able to rebuild his Athena Cannon army, which did get wiped out mostly a little while ago in this game. Don't do it, GoDoFWaR. Let him fight it out for a minute. He's going to try and take this expansion. SamBack, with 9 grand left in this refinery, or in this ore node, is going to try and make this a stronghold. And this, if Fury tries to hold this, I don't think he can, but if he tries to, then that could actually be a point of contention for them. It doesn't even have to be, as SamBack moves to the south. Sam is looking to put some serious hurt on... No, don't do it. GoDoFWaR, stop it. Stop attacking. Just let these guys kill each other while you hang out over there on the left side of the map, just minding your own business. Cryogeddon fires off. It's directly on top of the Athena Cannon. It catches the Athena Cannon. It catches the infantry army. SamBack does not split his forces. He is going to be taking critical damage here. But no, there's actually going to be a Chrono Rift as some of these forces swing out of this world. And now they're back into the action. But the Peacekeeper army has unfrozen. SamBack now going to be turning his attention to Fury. Fury was not able to split this army up in the way that he imagined he was going to be able to. And the Athena Cannon survives. Fury may have finally struck out for the last time, which doesn't make a huge amount of sense, but this is a fully heroic aircraft carrier. I don't actually know how it got all that veterancy. But Fury has finally, I think, pissed off SamBack to the last point, and now SamBack is going to just kill him outright. This aircraft carrier, these 2 aircraft carriers, may actually do a significant amount of damage over time to this army, which could weaken it enough for GoDoFWaR to strike out. Stop, GoDoFWaR, don't do it. Don't do it. I know you think this is an opportune moment, but don't do it again. Now, this does look a lot like earlier on in this game when SamBack did this exact same thing, but this time the MCV doesn't actually have to run out onto the water. And this army has exploded for the most part. GoDoFWaR is now going to be moving in the north. He's killed this refinery. He has not quite killed off much of the army. There's 4 Mirage tanks here, so there is still a lot of firepower left in the army of SamBack. GoDoFWaR is going to try and fight it. Cryogeddon locks down most of his forces. King Oni tries to bull rush his way out, but he actually loses 2 Mirage tanks. No, 3 Mirage tanks do get frozen there. The third does not actually go down. Yes, it does. It gets eliminated there. The army of SamBack getting frozen a little bit there by his own Cryogeddon and his own vehicles being thrashed by that support power. An absolute mess is this game. That Harvester is way the heck up there. I don't know what these guys are doing. This refinery is, I guess, long gone. Still 5 grand left there. And, oh, he's going to lose it to the Precision Bomber. No, a fully heroic Wave Force Artillery can survive a Precision Bomber strike. Aircraft carriers, 2 of them fully heroic for Fury. This is a terrible army, or a terrifying army to try and face. Those aircraft carriers, they put out a lot of damage, especially against buildings. Vindicators making some bombing runs against the Collectors. These Sea-Wings flying around looking for Harvesters to kill. That Harvester being eliminated at some point in the past and not really rebuilt by SamBack. And he's going to try. GoDoFWaR is going to try and kill SamBack. But again, as long as the MCV escapes, depending on how much cash SamBack has, rebuilding may still be possible. Airfield and Naval Yard are both relatively cheap. An airfield by itself wouldn't be that much of a help, but a Tier 3 Naval Yard, only 1,000 credits for SamBack. But if he loses all of these Harvesters, all of these refineries, then it may actually be too much power. That actually... Oh, that was the last of the anti-air. Well, never mind. It doesn't really matter because there's nowhere for a Vindicator to take off from. But Fury, he senses an opening. He senses an opportunity. GoDoFWAR's army is completely out of position, so he's now going to be making strikes against GoDoFWAR. GoDoFWAR moves his MCV to the north. He may have to evacuate his own main base. Fury actually pulls back. He's not committing to the attack. GoDoFWAR has an opportunity. This is still a lot of infantry firepower, but it's not necessarily a lot of damage coming out from our infantry if they get just bull rushed into oblivion. Expansion is going to be attempted at by GoDoFWAR. There's still enough cash in this ore mine for it to quickly pay for itself. And then, of course, even depleted, it'll still be all right. And this is getting so weird over here on the right side of the map. Multi-gunner turret going down for the command hub. Ooh, he misses that expansion. He tried to get the refinery core. What? Where are you going? Okay, he's going for the south. That was a weird path to take. He's going for the south. This is literally untouched. Completely brand new. This refinery is going down. There's pretty much nothing that GoDoFWAR can do to save that. Cryogeddon fires off. What is going to be here to kill it, though? I don't know whose Cryogeddon that was. It could have been SamBack. Oh, he gets the Wave Force Artillery. He gets a single veterancy status for that aircraft carrier, and everything else unfreezes. So that was really a Cryogeddon to kill one single unit. And it was worth it. If you're SamBack, I would have absolutely gone for that Wave Force Artillery. That MCV would have been dead otherwise. Assault Destroyer gets eliminated by GoDoFWAR. His Tier 3 Mecha Bay is about to go down. He's forced to sell it off. He's repositioned his MCV. He's rebuilt his Naval Yard up here in the north. What a messy FFA this is. What a long game with so much back and forth, but no clear advantage for any one player to run away with the game. Fury looks like the weakest one overall, but he has been able to just putter on, doing bits of damage here and there. Refinery is going to be going down. 4 tsunami tanks closing in on it. Yari mini-subs being produced. Harvester getting a little bit of damage on these assault destroyers, but that is a bit of a mismatch in terms of a fight. Power plant goes down. And for the most part, GoDoFWaR has been defeated from his original main base. He hasn't even paid for this refinery yet. He's only got two grand out of that ore node. And these... yeah, goodbye. I think it only takes like 2 bombing runs. That's kind of sad for GoDoFWaR. 2 bombing runs from a fully heroic aircraft carrier to eliminate a refinery. GoDoFWaR did not... that expansion actually cost more than he actually got out of the ore mine. MCV moving to the north. He's trying to reestablish this expansion. I think this seaport is actually out of range. Yeah, it's definitely out of range of that Allied MCV. I mean, the build radius is huge, but it's not that big. He's got the refinery all queued up. He's not actually constructing or building it just yet. I think he's going to try and EMP these tanks as soon as they come back into range. And there's going to be... oh, he tried to activate the nano deflectors. It didn't quite work out the way he would have hoped. And this refinery should survive this onslaught. This aircraft carrier is double vet, but it will be going down. That Yari mini-sub manages to go fully heroic, and the infantry gets scared away by the balloon bombs. Fury now going to be turning his attention to the north. He's going to be able to clean up GoDoFWaR out here on the water. SamBack is going to have to contend with Fury at some point, but for now, GoDoFWaR is just getting beaten back. He did manage to strike some damage against SamBack, but it does not manage as Fury. It does not matter as Fury is, I think, going to be undefeated out here on the water, and GoDoFWaR has basically had everything be eliminated. All of his infrastructure has just been cleaned up by these aircraft carriers, and this is the one thing that GoDoFWaR has not been able to kill, is those aircraft carriers. The EMP locks down the Conyard. This power plant up here is not much help for GoDoFWaR. The MCV does manage to walk away for now. There's not another EMP firing off just yet. I don't know why Fury isn't killing this MCV with an EMP so that he can just bomb it out of existence. I'm guessing GoDoFWaR doesn't actually have enough cash to rebuild. Wow, this oil derrick is still around as we pass the 35-minute mark at some point a little while ago, but that oil derrick has been around for a long, long time. GoDoFWaR still has a ground army. It's not much of a ground army. Again, a lot of it is infantry, and GoDoFWaR has been defeated. GG to him. So many moments where it could have gone very slightly differently for GoDoFWaR. He's a very solid player, but it's hard for even the best players to 2v1. And for part of this game, that is exactly what GoDoFWaR was doing. He was 2v1ing. So Fury has the much stronger naval forces, but he also is on the wrong side of the map. His MCV is on land, I'm guessing. Yeah, here it is on land. He's going to be going for this middle expansion point. There's actually 2 of them here with 39,000 credits or so between them. That's a lot of cash still out on the map. SamBack is going to be trying to do something, but SamBack is going to be desperately trying to stop the army of Fury. And somehow, someway, Fury is actually looking like the strongest player in this game at the current moment. And it's like 99% of that is just aircraft carriers. If the aircraft carriers would have gone down earlier in this game, it would have been a very different looking match. But this FFA has turned so many different times, in so many different ways. Fury will be pushed back. This assault destroyer trying to hunt this harvester. At the same time, it's dying to a riptide, which is kind of a silly idea. As an aircraft carrier takes 2 shots to eliminate a riptide. The refinery's all going down. Hydrofoils and dolphins going to be cleaning up everything out on the water for Fury, and this is one of those weird situations where Fury, his MCV, is just running all over the place, and he has almost nothing other than his naval army. Cryogeddon fires off. SamBack cleans up everything out on the water. I think the MCV is literally the only thing left on the water for Fury. Refinery gets eliminated. It was depleted a long time ago. command hub is indeed over there. The assault destroyer goes down. I think, I don't know, it could have been a Vindicator or something. Yeah, there's an Apollo running around for SamBack. I'm not sure what killed that assault destroyer. Oh, he got chrono rifted out of existence. Chrono shifted. The MCV is gonna have to run away. I was like, why did those drones suddenly disappear? That's not a real rock, is it? Oh, that is a real rock. That's not a barrage tank, apparently. Goodbye, Naval Yard. I think it's going to go down to the bombing runs of the aircraft carrier before whatever is being constructed can finish building. It goes down. In the middle of the map, SamBack is trying to make something happen. This assault destroyer is going to be going for the kill of this refinery, and I think it will get it before the small guns of the Riptide manage to take it down. And definitely, when an aircraft carrier kills the Riptide to help out that assault destroyer. And now both of these aircraft carriers are actually being locked down by the hydrofoils, so the Dolphins are going to get the kill. 2 heroic Dolphins. These are the Dolphins that have been skirting around this map, killing everything out on the water, and suddenly SamBack has a real chance. He should actually be able to potentially take this with his infantry army on the ground, killing all of the buildings, and his Dolphins running around on the water with the hydrofoils, just neutralizing any kind of threat out on the water. He can just lock down any threat, then and the Dolphins clean it up without taking any damage. That's the thing about Dolphins. They don't have a lot of health. They don't have a lot of armor. But the hydrofoils make that unnecessary. And, well, Fury has one Peacekeeper going to try and get the kill on the MCV, and the MCV is just going to go ahead and run over that Peacekeeper, I assume. Run over the Peacekeeper? No, maybe not. He can also just go out onto the water and be safe from the Peacekeeper, because SamBack has a lot of infantry somewhere out on this map. He's got a lot of infantry. There's a refinery out here on the water. Got 800 credits or so in the ore node. Vindicators. That's the way that this infantry army can be defeated, but you have to get the Vindicators out to the infantry army before the infantry army gets to you. Conyard still moving around the map. This oil derrick. This is a legitimately huge amount of cash from this oil derrick. If you want to negate the Peacekeeper, just go out onto the water. Yeah, the Vindicators can still hit you, but you don't have to kill the Peacekeeper. Is he going for a barracks? I don't actually know what he's building, although he also doesn't have a power plant. It's a cute move. Do people not know that a Cryoblast or Cryogeddon isn't enough to lock down an MCV? I keep seeing players do this. They use a single Cryogeddon on an MCV, and it doesn't work. The MCV is finally about to be eliminated. Where's the barracks? Where's the engineer to insta-heal that MCV? And goodbye, MCV of Fury. Fury down to just the last couple of things. SamBack has this stuff in the north. The command hub, I think, will keep him in the game. And the MCV now unpacked on the water. This is the time when he didn't actually need to be unpacked out onto the water. He just needs the repairs, and that is it. SamBack has been defeated before the power plant or whatever was there for Fury up in the north. Before the infantry could kill it, SamBack gets the kill on the MCV, or Fury gets the kill on SamBack's MCV. What a close ending that comes down to. GoDoFWaR fighting out a great game overall, but Fury and SamBack, it came down to them just running around the map, avoiding each other for large parts of that last couple of minutes. And what a great FFA on Pyroclasm. A back and forth between all three of these guys. And what a fun match to watch. Overall, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And this is Sybert, signing out.